Welcome to Face Up Damage. I'm your host, Jason, and on this week's episode, I will talk about my Month 5 Battle of Cardassia tournament. Okay, so yesterday I played in the Month 5 Battle for Cardassia tournament at one of my local friendly game stores, and um, the the build I had was 3 Vorchas, and with Martok on one, Worf on the other, and Nudok on the third one. I also had the Klingon flagship, so it was a very, very stripped down, basic build. It allows my thoughts on this is I'm throwing lots of dice, and I'm able to convert blanks and have some rerolls, like with Worf. Uh, the first game I played uh, was against a gentleman named John, and we set up the orbital weapon platforms, and you set those up after you place your ships. So you place your ships first, then you put the weapons platforms in. So you're kind of putting your ships in blind as to where the weapons platforms are. So I think I had initiative, so I placed first, and then he placed, and I did, and both of us were lined up on the call it the left side of the map, oriented to me, and so all the orbital weapon platforms were there. I was facing straight. He was kind of at an angle. So the first moves, he moves, cloaks. He's within range, but he can't fire any of the orbital weapons platforms. I went straight out. I cloaked, and with the flagship ability, since the cloaked icon is there already, if a ship already, one of the benefits of using the flagship is if you have that action on your action bar already, you can do it as a free action. So I was able to cloak Martok and do a free action. Martok, I was using limited. I should have stated I'm using limited edition Martok. So he's able to grant +1 die to other ships within range 1, and you can re-roll 1 die. So first move, I cloak, fire on 2 weapons platforms. I was able to take 2 out that would have hit me and start working on another one. He got fired on by one of the weapon platforms, took a hit, and it was the next 40 minutes was pretty much I destroyed. He went towards the right side where there were no weapons platforms, and I just went right through him and destroyed them all and went right at him. Although I had to go a little slower so I could clear the weapons platforms out without being hit. When we finally engaged each other, it was only 2 turns until I had him. It was down to the wire, though, because it took so long to go through there. And also, the other thing, too, was he wasn't ready in time, and when they call time, you go. So he was missing a ship, so he couldn't play the build that he had. So he was like, well, I don't know what to do. So I ran out to my truck, because I have my Shimano tackle box with all my stuff, just in case. And I was able to get him the cavort that he needed so that he could play. So we'd lost 10 minutes there. So we were right down to the wire. And he's an okay player. I was just able to take him out before I had better positioning on him, going through the weapons platforms and getting the shots off at him before he could get him a mine. The other advantage I had is my pilot skills were higher than most of his. I can't remember his build. I should have did this yesterday. I knew it, but anyways, I ended up winning that one. and I think we had like seconds to spare before they called time. So I was able to win that match, 100 points, and take that one. The next match was against an opponent I was pretty sure I'd be playing next, which was Tony. Now, Tony has won every single one of these events at this store. He's a good player. He plays X-Wing as well. I haven't played against him in X-Wing, but I've been at tournaments where he was there. He's a nice guy. He's very, very good. He went to the X-Wing Championships in Minnesota at Fantasy Flight, so Worlds, I think it was. So he's not a bad player. He's pretty good. So the next game was against him, and in most of these tournaments, I, and another gentleman called Steve are usually fighting each other at least one time in these tournaments because we're all pretty much the same skill level. We're pretty decent. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I'm actually not bad at this game. So we started playing. His was a 2-ship Cavort build, and he had 3 interface generators, and he had a flagship on one with Picard on one, antimatter mines, and he had the other ship had a Dantra. So it was a very if he lost a ship, it was very expensive. The main one being the Picard ship, that was 60 some points, I believe he said it was, and it had a lot. There was a lot. It was a really good build. It had a lot of good synergy. When we started setting up for this game, we set up, and he put forth that hey, let's keep this friendly and put the weapons platforms on one side. So I agreed, and we put pretty much all the weapons platforms on the one side of the board, which left us a tunnel to go through. So basically, we could just cut out all the crap of the weapons platforms and just hit at each other, which it was fine with me because at first I was kind of hesitant against it because it kind of takes away the spirit of that. But in my opinion, if you play that right, like I did, you go through them without them touching you anyways, and all it is a time deterrent. So I'm all about getting into it and getting it done, especially with the setting with this as the rules for the game. So we put them off to one side and we just kind of slugged it out. We had to kind of maneuver towards each other, and I think it was, and he agreed because he was, I moved my ships in towards him. He moved his towards mine, and I had positioned my guys. I had my nice formation going, and he was able to get his ships out of range of one of my ships. So I was only firing 2 instead of 3 ships. Now, why that's important is because it was a Martok and Nudok that got to fire. Worf didn't have a chance to fire. Now, you may think that why is that a big deal? The reason why that was a big deal is with that build, it really doesn't matter if Martok's firing or not, because he doesn't get, with the way that's built, he doesn't get any of those modifiers. So basically, he's just rolling, 6 attack die because you get the +1 for the flagship. So he's just rolling straight dice. So whatever it is. But don't let me get you. Don't get me wrong. Throwing a ton of dice is way better than more is better than less. But the significance is I didn't do well with Martok, and I was able to do well with Nudok, and I was able to take her down to just 1 hull. So if I would have had been able to get Worf in there, I would have been able to get her out of the game, or at least make him spend his interface generator early, and that would have changed, and that might have changed the tone of the game. But after that, I ran into some maneuvering problems, and I was able to keep everybody clear, but it left me in a vulnerable spot, and I knew I was gonna be in trouble. He had antimatter mines on his Picard ship, and he was able to get that antimatter mine on all three of my ships, and it was devastating because I took 3 damage, 3 damage, 2 damage. I took 3 damage to Martok, 3 damage to Worf, and 2 damage to Nudok. So that was pretty big. So he did a lot of damage to me, and I wasn't able to do. I say damage to the hull. He had taken my shields out too, so I wasn't able to cloak on Nudok or Martok anymore. And although Worf was still able to. The next round, I was finally able to take his Dontra out, and by then, time had been called, and I couldn't get enough of his ships. And the kicker of it is he won by 1 point. His Dontra was 31 points, and he had taken out my Nudok, or was it Martok? I can't remember. But the ship he took out of mine was 32 points, so he won by 1 point. That's how close that game was. So, so that was a good game, and I always have fun playing Tony. He's a very good opponent. I haven't beat him yet, so I look forward to the day when I can beat him. But I don't know. I don't think I will ever be able to beat him because he's really good. Because he's just really good. So now I'm 1-1, but not so bad because he only beat me by 1 point. So going into the third round, I played I can't remember the gentleman's name now. And I apologize. I'm sorry I can't remember your name. But anyways, we played, and I proposed the idea to him for putting all the weapons platforms on one side. He agreed. We lined up went right after each other. He had another Klingon build, similar to mine, except for he had some advanced weapon systems on his ships, and he didn't have a Martok. He had a number one captain. So, and I had won initiative on this one, so I was, excuse me, I was my fives, because he had a Nudok 5 and a Worf 5. So, since I had won initiative, I was moving first and attacking first. When it came time to finally, on the first attack, I was able to take out 2 of his ships in one attack, which blew my mind. But that's kind of the way that ship build will work, especially against cloak ships. He rolled. The other thing too is I rolled really well, and he rolled very badly. So even with a really good build, you can still roll terribly, and things still go against you. Shortly after that, one more turn, I was able to take out his last ship, and then that was it for the tournament. There was 6 of us in it this time. They usually have it on the first of the month, and they're very good about that. But they had the Magic pre-release, so that takes precedence. I understand totally. Magic's way bigger than Star Trek Attack Wing. So they had to push it to this weekend. So I'm wondering if that kind of threw some people off. But because it's usually the first weekend of the month, and it's usually a pretty good turnout. You usually have about 12 people, and I think the last time they had 14. I can't remember if they had got turned away or not. But anyways, rambling again. So all in all, I was able to take second in the entire tournament. Got the Bream Battle Cruiser, the I'm probably going to butcher this, the Rav Larest Bream Battle Cruiser, and then the participation prize, which was a resource, Heidekai class attack squadron. Looking at the Bream Battle Cruiser, Um, I'm not gonna actually. I'm gonna wait on saying anything about that or the resource card just now because you'll probably find out here in a few minutes. Uh, but anyways, I always have a good time. I'm always. I had said I was going to live tweet this event, and I did a terrible job. I think I tweeted the very beginning of it and then the very end. My problem is once I start playing, I'm so focused on the game, and a lot of times it's such a time constraint, and my opponents are, they take time, and so that I'm usually trying to go as fast as possible and cover all the angles and stuff because I'm trying to win. So I will try to do better the next time. I have some pictures. Actually, some of the pictures you're watching right now are from the event. So there's a cluster with two cavorts. I think it's cavorts. I'm not sure. And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing something. If someone wants to let me know how it's pronounced correctly, that's fine. I should probably look at the Wikipedias and try to find out, but I didn't think of that ahead of time. But anyways, I just want to thank everybody for watching again, Face Up Damage. I'm going to give you guys a little preview of things to come. I'm going to do a review of the Heidekai class attack squadron. I'll be going over that, the cards, how it works, and that kind of thing. I'm also got a review coming up of the Rav Larest Breen Battlecruiser and what comes in that and what I think of that. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter at FaceUpDamage. I'm going to be doing a giveaway at the end of the month. So I have I have something that I'm going to give away at the end of the month. I plan on doing monthly giveaways. I have a couple things that I've got lined up to give away. I just need more followers on Twitter and more subscribers. And the more I get, the bigger the prize. What have you? So be sure to share this on your Facebook, your Twitter, Google Plus, Tumblr, whatever social network you have. Please share this. Share it with your friends. If you enjoy it at all, if you found it informative at all, let me know. I will keep doing them as long as people keep watching and giving me feedback. Again, thanks for watching. You guys have a great night. Thanks again for watching.